So the name's Dash, and we are finally into the finale of Loki, and this is the second last episode, I think, which is episode 5, called Journey into Mystery. The second last episode before we see the final episode of Loki, the season finale, I guess that's what you call it. So let's talk about this. Now, first thing first, I have to say this was definitely a great way to continue what we saw in episode 4 of Loki. And I'm not talking about the ending of Loki episode 4. I'm talking about the post credit scene of Loki episode 4, where Tom Hiddleston's Loki wakes up in this alternate universe, and he meets a bunch of other Lokis, and this is where it continues. Episode 5 continues. So first thing first, we see a great chemistry with Tom Hiddleston's Loki and the rest of the Loki, including Alligator Loki, which I'm going to talk about in a while. And of course, we had those Lokis. Then we see them, how they try to escape from this smoke monster called Alliath. And at the same time, we have Sylvie, who tries to talk with Ravana Renslayer about where Tom Hiddleston's Loki went to, and even Mobius went to, and she wants to find out the truth. But of course, Ravana Renslayer, she has her tricks, and then of course she tricks her. She doesn't really tell her everything. Before she can tell her, the guards come in to get Sylvie. But then Sylvie, she has the courage to vanish her with a stick, and she also disappears the same way Loki did in the previous episode, and so did Mobius. And then we see Sylvie also in the same place where Loki was in, and so was even Mobius, because interestingly Mobius lives, which is a good thing. And he's also the one who saves her, who rescues her from Alliath. And while when she rescues Sylvie from Alliath, before he rescues Sylvie from Alliath, Sylvie sees something behind Alliath, which is like this mysterious castle, which we get to learn about towards the end of the episode, which I'll also be talking about. But I really wanted to talk about the scene where President Loki, and there are a bunch of other Lokis. There's a Loki with a beard, then there's this Loki that looks like a Viking, and so many other kinds of Loki. They also come in to the party, and then they also meet Tom Hiddleston's Loki with him with the rest of the Lokis, such as Alligator Loki, Kid Loki. Before I talk about the scene, I just wanted to say how interesting it was to see Kid Loki, how his reason of screwing up the timeline, or the reason why he was the variant, or reason why he was sent to the TVA, was because he killed Thor. That was his Nexus event. That was very interesting, because I wanted to know how did he do that. I guess we'll never get to know, but wow, that was interesting how he killed Thor. I don't know why though. Speaking of Thor, I wanted to talk about his Easter egg too. Sorry, I'll just make this quick. This Easter egg of Throg. We see Throg, this frog with his Thor suit. This is a frog stuck in a jar, who had the suit of Thor, reaching out for his hammer, and that hammer is none other than Mjolnir, which was placed outside of the jar Throg was stuck in. That was an interesting Easter egg. And one more Easter egg. I promise this is the last Easter egg. That was the Thanos copter. We did not see that coming, did we? Seeing Thanos copter was, I don't know what to say. It's it was goofy. At the same time, it was interesting. I remember in Endgame, there's a scene where Iron Man tries to hit Thanos, when Thor uses lightning to charge up Iron Man's suit, and tries to attack Thanos, and Thanos uses a blade to spin it around, which is supposed to be an Easter egg to Thanos copter, because in his helicopter also rotated, the wings of his helicopter rotated, like that, in a 360-degree angle, I guess. And then we finally see that. We also finally see the actual helicopter from the comics. So I wonder, how did that end up there? And was it actually, did Thanos really, have a helicopter like that? And that was interesting, because we never saw that in either Infinity War. We neither saw that in Infinity War nor Endgame. But I guess a cool Easter egg. Now, moving on to the scene I was going to talk about. That was the scene with all the Lokis together in that huge chamber underground, where we start seeing them trick each other. Then there's that surprise look. President Loki, who's also played by Tom Hiddleston, looks at Alligator Loki, like, why do you have an alligator here? Then Kid Loki's like, he's a Loki. And oh yeah, not just Kid Loki, but the entire team is like, he's a Loki. And that is was quite hilarious just to see, how alligator Loki just makes everything serious moments, a bit hilarious. When everyone is like questioning, when people start questioning, why do you have an alligator, but then they realize that that's also Loki, just to just lighten things up a bit. But at the same time, I really have to say, looking at alligator Loki throughout the whole episode, I really think alligator Loki is not someone to be messing around with, if I'm not wrong, because there's a scene where he bites off President Loki's hand, and that's when the fight starts happening, and then we have classic Loki using this very classical move, no pun intended, where he uses a projection of him to make it look like he's actually there, but then he escapes with the rest of the Loki, such as Tom Hiddleston's Loki, and then alligator Loki killed Loki, and then the Loki with a Mjolnir. And then we finally see Team Loki meet Owen Wilson's Mobius and Sylvie. And then and they meet, and then they see Alioth. Then Sylvie tells Loki how like she saw something behind, and that's when they decide to like work together to finally find out the truth behind the Alioth. And wow, to be honest, the character of Alioth, the smoke monster that was like killing everyone, like kind of like vanishing everyone just by going through them. It is interesting how they had a callback. I guess that's what you can call it. Had a call. They made a callback to the Wizard of Oz, and like wow, such a classical movie. I guess that was a classical movie, but like we did not. That was very unexpected to see how they would make a Wizard of Oz callback in an MCU movie. And this is exactly what happened here. And what I mean by this is when Sylvie and Loki, they touch the smoke monster who's Alioth, and then they finally get rid of the monster, right? And then they see this castle behind the Alioth, and then they realize that there's something much bigger than Alioth, and something who like who was playing it, or who was controlling Alioth. So Allied is not that big of a problem anymore, but instead it's a mysterious person in that castle who's the bigger problem. And who knows? I guess we're gonna find out in the next episode. Let's see who's that. It could be the person who's behind the TVA, and it could be possible that it's Kang the Conqueror. We don't know yet, but we'll see in the next episode. So far, this episode was interesting. I wouldn't say the best episode. I would probably say that would be the fourth episode. But still, this episode was a great way to continue the film with the fourth episode, and more importantly, it was also a great way to end the episode where we finally see this castle behind this smoky monster that was killing everyone, that everyone was so worried about and trying to escape from, including the Lokis. And I guess we're gonna find out who's in the castle in episode 6. So that's what I'm really excited about. And let's see also what happens with Ravonna Renslayer, like what she does next, because she's not like yet done. Her character arc is not yet finished, I guess. So we'll also see that in episode 6. But definitely I'm more excited to see who's in that castle in episode 6. Until then, I'll see you next time.